What is, if someone was to ask us about Janice, for this working with her to start off a beauty supply store, I would tell you, go ahead. That's what would be the best option that you can get at this time because there's no companies out there that's gonna give you the result that we came up with. And also put that personal feeling to help you succeed as such as it was hard with it. So that experience brought us that you can feel with just the vibe that she give and to help us make our stores the way we want it inside, not just because other stores is like that. So that was one of the best reasons to James.
And I would say, trust. I just feel like when you're dealing with a company and you hundreds of miles away and you paying your money, you want to feel like you can trust these people. So I just feel like, when we put that money in Jan's hands for us, for her to consult for us, I just felt like we could really trust her. So, I advise anybody when making a business deal like that, you want to be able to trust the person, you're giving that money to.
Welcome, 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 guys. Welcome to our last day here in the challenge. How's everyone feeling? How's everyone doing? I see Miss Wilson is in the building. Hey, Marquita. Hey, Ann.
Hello.
How are you? Hey, Lakita. How's everyone feeling today? I see no videos. What is happening? It's our last day. I want to see everybody's face. Are we excited? I see no one's face. Are we excited? It is our last day here. Are we excited? How do we feel? I want to hear some words from you guys of how you are feeling so far with your beauty supply journey. Okay, we see a few people's working class. No worries, ladies. Anybody else want to share a few words before we get started? The floor is open. Uh, slide together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to jump into today's content because you actually have a lot of great content today, which I'm really excited about. It's all about funding for your store and getting you guys prepared. So make sure you definitely have a notebook and pen and calculator because we're going to be crunching some numbers today as we wrap up this challenge. So welcome again to those of you who are watching live on YouTube. Welcome to our 3-day challenge, our great lock-in challenge. We have been here for the past 3 days and we are wrapping up today. So if you are coming in for the first time, my name is Janice Fredericks. I'm the Retail Genius Online. I have been hailed a pioneer in the beauty supply industry since 2010. That's when I opened my own beauty supply stores called Fabulous Freddy's here in my hometown of Queens, New York. We ran those stores for 8 years and then I retired and moved on into the consulting side of this business because I saw that there was a great need for other Black entrepreneurs to come into the space and make money the same way I did. And so we founded the Retail Genius in 2017. And we have been helping Black men and women since then open beauty supply stores all over the country, the islands, and Canada. And we have helped Black women gross over 3 million in revenue with their own, and this is in sales within their own beauty supply store. So my story began, and I shared this before many a time. I found myself in a beauty supply store with a terrible, terrible experience. And this was a store that I literally shopped at every single paycheck and never enjoyed my experience. And so I saw that as an issue within this industry that Black women, we can spend so much money in an establishment and get treated poorly. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to change it because I wanted a better experience, not only for myself and the women in my family, but other Black women. And so I knew that if I could get the right tools, if I can get with the right people and get the right connections, that I could build my store and it could be successful because I know what Black women want in a beauty supply store. So I made a decision and I literally cut off myself from any other option, and I was laser focused on getting my store started, so much so that I opened it within 60 days of making a decision of going into this business. And I did it without a huge budget. I did it with a small space. So my store was 800. The first store was 800 square feet of space. And within the first year, I made more money than I did working on Wall Street at one of the top investment firms, okay, in the corporate field. I made over six figures. So our programs we have designed them to actually help other people do the same thing. So we have our 6 week boot camp program, and then we also have our 12-month one on service, which is our platinum store launch program, where we actually have a team of people that help you actually build your stores from the ground up. So I got a few emails and inquiries yesterday about those programs. So I'm gonna drop my link so that you guys can actually book a call with me. So on this call, we would pretty much go through what makes the most sense for you. Because some of you are at the beginning stages where the boot camp would be the best option. And then some of you are like, I want to get a team in and do the work for me and do this heavy lifting. I just want to hire you and your team. And so that's also a conversation as well. So either way, book your call so that we can come up with your next steps so that you can open your store in 2026. So the link is there. I have limited time slots, so it is imperative that you book your call so that you can get on the calendar because there's limited time on that calendar. Okay, so that's the link there. I just dropped it for you guys. So make sure you click the link, save the link, and book your call. Our clients have been featured all over the country. And the reason why I really love sharing and emphasizing the fact that it's all over the country, because the blueprint that I teach you here is something that will work whether you're in LA, Las Vegas, Georgia, New York. It literally works anywhere you are at. You just have to follow it step by step by step. And you too can be as successful as these people here. Some of them have been in business for years at this point. So now we are at day 3. So to give you a recap of this challenge breakdown, day 1, we talked about developing the entrepreneurial mindset and understanding the retail landscape as well as beauty supply. Day 2, we identified our unique target audience and we built our beauty brand. And today we are going to get into startup costs, funding, and the things that you're going to need, the business plan and financial projections in order for you to get funding for your store. And we are doing a bonus training tomorrow. So you should have seen an email and a text message for the private training that we're going to be doing, bonus training that we're going to be doing tomorrow. I call it the family reunion. So we're going to get back here on Zoom, and this is for everybody. So whether you're watching me on YouTube, you are actually welcome to our bonus day tomorrow that is going to be at 11 a.m. here in the Zoom room where I'm going to be going through some extra details, some extra training, and recapping all of the content from the past 3 days. So you should have got an email so that you can register for that. Again, it's going to be tomorrow, Saturday at 11 a.m. So, day 3 is all about funding and the preparation process for your beauty supply store. So, we have a lot of different reasons why planning and funding is really important because some people come in and they're like, I'm going to be self-funded, so I probably don't need this business plan. There are two major reasons why you're still going to want to take time out, even if you're going to be privately funded or self-funded, why you still want to take the time out to actually create the business plan for your store. So the first and obvious reason is because in order to obtain any type of funding from an outside bank or investor, you will need to show a document that proves that your beauty supply store is going to be a viable one. And the second thing, even if you are self-funded, you're going to need a roadmap to project how much it's going to actually cost you to open your beauty supply store and the line by line items on what you're going to be spending this money on. So the purpose of the beauty supply business plan is to clearly define the key components of your own roadmap. So this is your custom roadmap for your beauty supply store. And it sets out with defining your vision and mission for the business and your plans to actually execute on all of those things that you're going to mention. So I have coined the 5 points beauty supply business plan. So there's 5 key points, 5 key concepts that you will need in your business plan. So that it's not 100 pages, it's not overwhelming. You just need these 5 key things. Number one, your branding. Number two, your marketing. Number three, your product mix. Number four, your sources and uses of funds. And number five is your financial projections. So the first key is the branding, which we discussed in detail yesterday. Your branding page needs to have an outline of how you are planning to set yourself apart from the competition and what is going to make you different. You're going to include a little bit of your bio, your background, and a summary of your core business model, right? And this is going to let the reader understand, your mission, your vision, where you're coming from, what is going to be your angle, and what is going to make you different from every other beauty supply store that exists. This is exactly what we did with one of our clients, Jazzy Chick in Las Vegas. She wanted to create a high-end luxury store, which was a store that Vegas hasn't seen since she opened. And so we were able to create a business plan that talked about the high-end brands that we were going to have to attract these women. We talked about the branding of the store. It's, as you can see, there's that pink feminine look. She has chandeliers. It screams luxury, right? This is what we outlined in the business plan so that you can clearly see that this store is not going to be an average looking beauty supply store. The next piece is going to be the marketing plan. This is going to be a summary of how you're going to attract potential customers and then turn them into your loyal tribe, because everyone is shopping somewhere for their beauty supply. So it is going to be your job through your marketing to actually steal customers from wherever they're currently shopping, whether that's online, Target, or at their local Asian store. The marketing plan is developed so that you are literally going to be stealing someone's attention away from where they're currently shopping to your store, and not only get you into your store, but actually turn them into a loyal customer to where they're coming back. And then they're also telling other people to actually come to your beauty supply store and shop at your beauty supply store. That is what is called is creating your tribe of people who are going to not only be customers, but they're also going to market the business for you on your behalf. The third part is your product mix. Now, this is going to be the different categories that you're going to carry in your store that's going to generate a profit. Now, this section is a standalone section because it's going to outline the inventory specifically in your beauty supply store. So when we create business plans for our clients in our program, this is a spreadsheet that we have. So we have many different spreadsheets within the plan, but this one specifically is going to outline your top line categories for your store, and then it's going to detail by unit how much you are going to sell off of each category, so that when a lender is reading or an investor is reading, they are clearly going to see each category and how much percentage towards revenue each category is going to carry. So for example, wigs may be a category that you have in your product mix, and you project that wigs is going to generate 50% of the revenue, 40% of the revenue. That's a line item that you're going to show an investor that by carrying this category, this is going to bring in 50% of the revenue, and it's also going to bring in 50% of the profits in my store. And so now an investor or a lender will read line for line the categories that's going to make up your product mix, and see whether or not this is going to be a viable, successful product mix from the profits that each category is going to generate in your store. Okay, so this part is extremely important for you to be very detailed, because if you're not, the lenders are going to just put your plan to the side because it doesn't have the detail that they're looking for. They're looking to see that your business is going to make enough money to sustain itself as well as be able to pay back this loan. Okay? Everyone see that, right? So that's why it is important for you to add this level of detail in your business plan. Because this is going to be the backbone of your business. This is literally the backbone of your business. And another thing that I want to mention is your product mix, like I talked about before when we talked about brand, your product mix has to be based on your demographic and your community. It's not based on you and your family and what you guys like, right? I made that mistake when I came out and I brought a whole bunch of products and hair and things that no one was looking for. So you want to make sure that you avoid this common mistake of thinking that you know what people want and actually collect the data through surveys so that your product mix is created from real data, not just your guess or your assumption or the opinions of friends and family members. So when we were working with My Shade and Texture here in Tampa, Florida, we knew that we wanted to have a product mix that was primarily going to be for the naturalista, the woman that and Tampa's very, very hot, as y'all know. The woman that is wearing her hair naturally, it's very humid weather. And so we were really diligent on creating a product mix that was going to be very profitable for the community. And so we had to take the time and look for more organic brands, more natural brands, more private label brands. Like I mentioned yesterday, in Pam's store, she also has an entire DIY bar, which is, if you can kind of see it in this picture where she's standing right here underneath the lighting. That is a bar where there's dozens and dozens and dozens of different oils and scrubs and different lotions that the customer is able to come in and mix and match their own concoction. So literally creating your own oil formula, your own scrub formula. Like it was a whole bunch of organic things that she was able to purchase wholesale and put her label onto it, which is called the private label process, and have her own brand of oils. And so when you're done in that station, you literally have your own oils that you made yourself, and people were just loving it and really proud, and they just really loved the experience. But this was a great part of her product mix. So a part of the product mix was her own private label of different oils and scrubs that she had in the store. And that part of her product mix actually generated most of the profits in her business. So literally, the product mix is very, very important for you to be intentional and really think about what are the things that is going to bring in the most profits in my store, and also move, right? We're also wanting to move units in the business as well, making sure all the products are moving within a 90-day time period. So number 4 in the business plan is going to be your sources and uses of funds. This is going to be another spreadsheet that you are going to create that's going to outline dollar for dollar how much you're requesting from the lender or the investor, right? So how much you're going to need and then why. The why is you're going to really outline everything that you're going to need to purchase. Everything from inventory to your shelving to your fixtures in your store to operating costs. Operating costs is a big part of your sources and uses of funds. Your operating costs is going to be 3 to 6 months of capital that you're going to require in order to maintain the business while you are actually getting customers in. So not everybody is going to know about your store grand opening day. It is going to take a good 6 months to a year for the community to know that you're there. And so in that 6 months, you're going to need money that is set aside for you to actually pay your payroll, pay your rent, pay your lights, pay your POS, pay everything that you're going to need in the store without taking out any additional loans, without using your personal credit cards, which is what I had to do because I didn't have working capital. I didn't know that I needed to have it. And so now that you guys know, this is what that outline looks like. You want to create a spreadsheet. This is what we do for our clients. We have a spreadsheet, and on the literally the first thing that a lender sees when they open the financial projection is this spreadsheet. This is a breakdown of everything we need, from the inventory to the light fixtures to the payroll to uniforms, bags, everything we list out. Because if you say and you make it general, they're going to ask you for the detail. So this needs to be really specific, down to the penny, down to the last penny of how much you're going to need for your store. Another thing that I will say about the lenders and what we have seen is that with some of the lenders, what they do with disbursements of funds is they will disperse a check directly to the vendor. So, for example, you will have a construction cost for your store, build out cost. Some lenders want to cut the check directly to the contractor or the hair vendor or the product vendor. And so that's why it's also very important and imperative that you have real numbers here and that you're not guessing, right? We do this work for our clients, but you need to go out and figure out how much it's going to cost for build out, how much will a contractor charge me for a build out of a space that's, 2,000 square feet space, blah, 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 blah. You have to go out and get those quotes because they're going to want to see, where is this data based on? Where are you getting this information from? Right? So you have to do that research. Because here's the bottom line. You're going to need adequate funding for your store to be success. And the biggest mistake and the biggest reason for store failure for a lot of Black-owned beauty supply stores is that we are underfunded. Okay, we are just simply underfunded. We didn't open with enough money, and now you're looking at closing your store within the first 90 days of your grand opening because you were underfunded. So here are a list of different funding options. You can take a screenshot of this, but for the most part, what we are going to use, what we use for our clients is the small business loans through the SBA 7A program. That's what it's called. There's a combination of those loans as well as micro loans, and they call them CDFIs as well. You can also consider some investors and crowdfunding. So there will be friends and family members who may have the ability through retirement, 401k, or whatever kind of capital they have to invest or donate to a crowdfunding campaign. So one thing that we talk about in our programs is crowdfunding. I myself, with my store, raised 12,000 in crowdfunding, which is a good amount of money. We had also a couple in Florida. They opened their store in Jacksonville, Florida. They also raised 10,000 in crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding is great because you don't have to pay these people back. But what you do instead of paying them back is you give them different levels of gifts in order for them to donate to your campaign. So that is another big piece of getting funding for your store, is through crowdfunding. I'm a huge fan of it. We go through crowdfunding in the programs because it's really, really successful. Then you have grants, which is lower on the list because grants, number one, they're hard to come by. Number two, you need to have a business that already has revenue, which most of us were starting a business, so we don't have revenue to show. And then number three, a lot of times the amounts that they do give you in grants are typically very low. Like if you do get a grant for a brand new business, it might be a couple of $100, less than $500 for like a local grant. But $500 is still worth applying for. But I put it low because a lot of people come in here and think they're going to get an entire beauty supply store off of grants, and that is fantasy. That is fantasy. We get funding for our stores through, like I said, the SBA 7A program. Last year, 2024, we was actually able to get the clients that worked with us 1.4 million in funding total for their beauty supply store. So a substantial amount of money we were able to get for our clients last year through the SBA program. Okay, because we know that it's going to take upwards $80,000 for you to open a beauty supply store that's adequately funded. And you're not going to get $80,000 through a grant. That's not going to happen at all. Okay. Then you have your angel investors, which are private investors, and there's angel investors in every state. You can Google and find out where those angel investors is different programs, but these are also people that invest in your business, but they are like silent partners. Okay, and sometimes they want equity in exchange for their investment, which means you're giving away some ownership, that's equity, some ownership in your business for them to give you money. And then lastly, personal savings, retirement funds, things of that nature as another way to fund your store. I put it dead last because I love to use the SBA for that. I had to use my own retirement funds when I started my store and personal savings. And if I had known that there was a better way of getting funding for my store, I would have never ever done it because there's lots of tax implications when you use your retirement funds. So remember, guys, a well-prepared business plan and a clear vision will attract the correct funding opportunities for your store. So if you are looking for lenders to say yes to your application, a well-prepared business plan is what you will 1000% need, as well as decent credit score for and revenue income for your store. So one of our coaching calls, like I had mentioned to you guys before, we have our funding coach. His name is Josh Earl, and he did a funding class for the ladies in the boot camp program, and literally went through the 3 C's of getting funding, right? And so part of that C is cash, collateral, and credit. Okay, so these are the 3 things that they're going to be looking for when giving out substantial amounts of money, like I said, upwards 80,000. And we're going to get into numbers, so don't worry about it. I'm going to get into what that looks like. But the business plan is going to outline that for lenders, so that's why it's really important for you to have that in there. So the second part of your plan is going to be the numbers. This is what we call our financial projections, our financial projections. So there's 3 pieces to this part. Number one is the sales forecast. This is going to be a forecast that you're going to do broken down monthly. Okay, so I talked to you guys about what we do with our product mix and the business plans that we create for our clients. We break it down by category and we break it down monthly as well. So this is going to be the sales every single month for 3 years. You want to have 3 years of sales forecast in your plan. Okay. The second piece is going to be your profit and loss statement. This is a P&L, right? It's short for P&L. And this is going to take the information from your sales projections, from your budget, your expense budget, and your cash flow statement to project how your business is going to do, whether it's going to have a profit or a loss. And you're going to show that for the first 3 years. Okay. This is also going to show the break even analysis. So at what point the break even analysis is going to show at what point will this business actually start to turn a profit. Okay. So day one, you're going to have a grand opening. And then from the grand opening, obviously you're going to have customers coming to your store every single day. The break even analysis is going to show at what point and what day is this business actually going to start to make a profit. And so the profit and loss statement, again, is going to be 3 years that you want to show your profit and loss for your store. And then the last is going to be your expenses budget. This is going to be your cost of goods sold. And you're also going to outline your monthly overhead for your business. So every single month, you want to show all the things that are going to cost you money, including inventory, which is your cost of goods sold number, like I mentioned before. So now let's talk about the startup costs, okay? Because this is going to be paramount when you guys are creating your business plan, to know what the startup costs are and to know what does this look like for an average beauty supply store. And I will also say this, the startup cost is going to vary from city to cities, from state to state. It's going to vary. What it will cost you in Atlanta is going to be way different from what it's going to cost me up here in New York, where we are like one of the most expensive cities to live in. Okay, I could probably open two beauty supply stores in Tennessee or Atlanta somewhere with what the cost is in here in New York City. So the first thing is going to be the rent. The rent is one of the largest costs. A lot of times you're going to need security. And again, if you're in a city like New York where a lot of landlords require 6 months, that's a world of difference when you're looking to get funding, whether you're going to need 6 months worth of rent or 2 or 3 months. Your operating costs is going to be all of your overhead, reoccurring costs in your beauty supply store. Your reoccurring costs is going to be payroll, rent, lights, marketing, the cost for your accountant. These are the things that you're going to include in your operating costs. Your location improvement cost is the cost for construction of the space. If you're getting a white box space versus a raw space because you're in a community and there's a lot of new developments, that is also going to be a world of a difference in cost. I always suggest that you look for white box spaces because when you get a space that is raw, it's a new development, you are going to spend 60 to 70% of your loan just on building out a space. So it's always best to just find a space that's second generation, which means it was already something there, a retail shop, preferably, so that all you have to do is just come in, maybe do some flooring, do some lighting, do some painting. It's like very minimal that you want to spend on customizing the space because when you leave the space, you're not going to take any of that money or any of that work with you. The next piece is going to be your equipment, your shelving, your IT, which is your POS system, your point of sale system, your security cameras. All of that is covered underneath equipment. And then you're going to have a budget for your soft opening and your grand opening, right? So we do a soft launch. We do two different events. The first is your soft launch event where you open, but you're opening to friends and family. And then you have your big grand opening where it's open to the community. You have your ribbon cutting. It's with the pictures, it's with the cameras, all the things, right? So we have two different events, one budget. And then lastly is the inventory, which again, that's another large piece of your budget for your beauty supply store. Okay, so let's start with the inventory. This is the number one asset and the number one driver of revenue in your store. So when you are doing your budget for your inventory, you want to step one, define your product mix. Like I've been saying, it's really important for you to be really intentional about the different categories in your store. The step after that is going to be to select the brands from your product mix. So what you're going to want to do, like I said, is you need to have spreadsheets for all of these things. I am like a spreadsheet person. I just think it's the best way to organize information. So in our programs, we already have this creative. So all you have to do is just plug in your information and there you go. You have your product mix. So underneath that is a separate slot for where you're going to put the specific brands under each category. And then what you're going to do once you have the number of brands, and this is an example, right? So if you have a store that is on the smaller end, let's say it's 1,000 square feet of space, you're going to minimal need two gondola shelves for that store. The gondola shelves is the shelving that we use primarily for our stores, right? So gondola shelves you can get anywhere. But what's great about these gondola shelves is that they can carry a lot of brands. So on one gondola shelf, you can carry at least 32 brands. So that's going to be 16 brands on both sides of the shelving. And this is why, again, I like gondola shelves because it's compact, they hold a lot of brands, and they're very affordable. And so if you have a store that's 1,000 square feet and you have 2 gondola shelves, you can have minimum 64 brands in your store. That is going to be the minimum of what you're going to want to have in your beauty supply store, 64 brands. And then the major key when it comes to our cost of goods sold number, this is a big piece in cash flow management once you guys are already up and running, but I always want you to remember this is 3 months on hand, 90 days. So you want 90 days of inventory. That's a formula that I've been teaching for the past 15 years. 90 days is the formula for keeping your inventory on your shelves on hand, right? If it's longer than 90 days, it really depends on what it is. But anything longer than 90 days, you will have to take a look at it and consider getting rid of it. So then when you go through your ordering process, right? When you go through your ordering process and you're looking at 90 days, that could be either 12 pieces of a specific product, 24 or 36. And that's how I do orders. We're ordering either 12, 24, or 36. I rarely would order anything less, and I don't suggest you do it either. Because if it's not going to move within that 90-day period, then it's probably something you don't need to have on your shelves. But again, this is a formula. You have to apply it to the different categories in your product mix. But this is still a good benchmark to keep in mind when you are building your beauty supply store. So when we're looking at total inventory and the costs, there's a simple formula that you can use, which is average ticket value, which is the average amount that someone would spend at any point in time. For our store in Queens, because we were a higher end store and we had a smaller space, that number was high, like $50. For the average beauty supply store, it's lower, especially the Asian owned stores. That number is half, like $25 per average ticket value. But we already had the data because we already had a store when we was going to open our Brooklyn location. And so if we used our $50 average ticket order times your retail space, and it's really important for you to understand this is multiplied by the square footage and what you can actually sell something. So not considering your office, your bathroom, or your storage, right? So in that store, if we had a store that's 1,000 square feet of space, our retail usage is 800. Okay, because we're minusing out our office, our bathroom, and our storage space. So 50 times 800 square feet of space is about $40,000 in inventory. That's the formula. That's the formula. And then next is our rent. So base rent and an average, most landlords is looking for 3 to 6 months. So if your rent was $6,000 and you needed 3 month security, you would need 18,000 towards your rent expense. Then we have the location improvement costs. So like I said, this is the cost for a contractor to come in and design the store the way you want. Usually they're going to charge you a price per square foot. So depending on how big your store is, that's usually how they do their pricing. If you go with an interior designer, they are usually 10% of that total budget cost. This also is going to include the labor for all of their men that's going to be working on their store. 9 times out of 10, it also depends on the contractor. They would include fixtures in their quote and the permits as well. So all the permits that they need to actually do the work on the space would be included in that cost. So for our store, we were looking at $30 per square foot. And again, we're talking about 1,000 square foot store. So that budget was 30,000. The interior designer was 3,000. And then you're going to need an architect who is going to do the floor plans for you. And that usually is about $2,500 depending on your state and where you're at, right? So the total cost for the construction of the space, for the build out of the space was 35,500. Then next we have the working capital. So this is again the amount of money that you want to have set aside and saved for the first 3 to 6 months of your business, of your beauty supply store. And this is going to cover rent, utilities, payroll, marketing, any professional costs that you have. So if you have a accountant, lawyer, all those people, coach, and the insurance, which is really important. So any new business, I always suggest you go with the 6 months worth of operational costs, not three. Now, if this is your second and third location, you can get away with three, but if it's a brand new store and you're doing the store for the first time, you want to go with 6 months of operational costs set aside so that the goal is you don't have to take out any additional loans or any additional credit cards, anything like that, to be able to pay for these things. You'll pay for it without stressing out because, again, your first 6 months, you are building your customer base and people are just getting to know that your store is there. And so it will be slow for the first couple of months, so this is very, very, very important to have this money set aside. So for this project it was 57,000 for 6 months worth of operational costs. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the equipment. So this is going to be all of the fixtures that you're going to have in your store, any custom fixtures that you purchase, chandeliers, lighting, all of that stuff. If you have a service-based business also in your store, which I did, I had a salon. This is also going to include your salon fixtures, your chairs, your mirrors, your wash bowls, your dryers. This is also going to include your technology in the store, your IT. So your point of sale system, your security cameras, all the things that you're going to need to actually operate the store is going to be under this category. Okay, so here for this budget, the total equipment cost was $37,515. So the total cost, when we add everything up in our startup budget for this Brooklyn location that we went to open, the total was about $170,170. One thing I want to mention here, right? The SBA will always be looking, if you go with the SBA program, that is, they will always be looking for 10 to 20% of that total investment from the customer. So that means if you are asking for a loan that's $100,000, depending on the specific lender, they will want to see 10 to 20% of whatever you are asking for. That's called owner investment, right? Owner equity. Every lender has a different name for it, but basically it is the upfront money that you are going to be putting towards this project. So if you're asking for $100,000 loan, they're going to want to see that you have put at least 10%, 10,000 towards the building of this store. You have 10,000 saved somewhere, or 10,000 personal loan, 10,000 investor, family member, someone who's willing to put up that 10%. So for us, they wanted 20%. For the lender that I was working with, it was 20%. But always know that there will be a percentage that they will be looking for when you're going for the SBA 7A program. Okay. So we will wrap up here. Like I mentioned, everyone that is on the call, we have a special invitation for you to basically keep this party going, right? If you want to keep this party going, this is your exclusive invitation into our signature 6-week beauty supply bootcamp program that is designed to give you the coaching and everything that you are going to need to successfully launch your store in 2026. So in this program, we start off with a one-on-one onboarding call with me where we're going to sit down on the Zoom and literally map out your 12-month plan for launching your store in 2026. So we're going to sit down and create the roadmap with literal milestones and placards of all the things that you need to do with dates. So we talked about the soft launch date, grand opening date, when should you sign your lease, when should you get funding, all of that will be mapped out on this one-on-one onboarding call so that you have a clear roadmap and clear goals for 2026 and you're not just going to enter the year trying to figure everything out. Like we literally put timelines on everything so that you know that there are certain points where you need to have certain things done. There's a certain point where I need to have the business plan done. There's a certain point where I need to have all of my funding applications and my lender list done. There's a certain point where I need to have all the surveys done so I can start to create my product mix, right? So we go through all of that in that one-on-one onboarding call, right? And so some of you guys know, but I think most of you guys are new. We had this program out since 2017. And I ran those programs for years and years. And a lot of the most successful Black-owned beauty supply stores that you see today, 9 times out of 10, took this program or was a part of this program. And then I stopped it, right? I stopped it and was literally just focused on doing our platinum service with the team. And we were flying all over the country and opening stores. And we were just literally just doing that one-on-one, which is 30,000 and up. And this year I decided to actually bring this program back and we upgraded the information. We had a lot of new things that especially that happened this year with the new administration and all the new laws and rules, and there's been lots of changes. And so we decided to relaunch this program, and we literally are wrapping up one of our cohorts now that started back in, I think we started back in September actually, and literally went through all of the new information with how to get funding, what lenders to look at. We had our funding coach come on and do a really amazing session. And so in this program, you're going to have weekly group coaching calls. So literally what we have been doing for the past 3 days is what we do every single Monday. We get on the coaching call and we're going through trainings and we're going through what needs to be done. And I'm like literally teaching you guys step by step by step, like these are the things that you need to do. And we like meet every single Monday so that you can ask your questions. And then you get personalized feedback of your work. Because at the end of this, you guys are going to get a certificate of completion. And lenders love to see this because they want to see that you have already invested in yourself. So like I said, the SBA is always looking for some type of owner injection, something that has shown that you have some sweat equity into this business that you're requesting money for, right? And so we like to give out this certificate because they want to see that you have already put in the work, time, money investment in yourself to make this a reality. So every single week that you guys come to the call, we have templates and homeworks and guides that we need you to complete so that we can give you the feedback to let you know that, okay, this is right, change this. This is what we are looking for every single week. And then you have access to our full world-class retail system. So this is our online private portal where you have all of the trainings. So we have all the trainings on everything that you need from A to Z to actually get your store up and running. It's a full curriculum that has all the trainings. I call it beauty supply like Netflix. It's something that you can watch at any time. So whether it's 3 p.m., 3 a.m., you have access to this online portal so that you can be watching all of the trainings. And then, like I mentioned yesterday, our private mastermind group is amazing. It's an amazing group of men and women who have been a part of my programs. And this is a part of our mastermind that you have literally for life connections to different people all over the country that have beauty supply stores, because I really feel like it's really important for you to be tapped into a community of people, not just one coach and one person, but a community of people who are where you want to be in life. So we have literally access to all of the resources. This is a screenshot of someone who came into the program one day and literally was able to get access to our vendor list and get all the accounts that she needed. She had already been in the process of opening her store with a completely different company and literally had no success with getting vendors. Like she was doing this all on her own and then came into the program and literally in one day she had got access to all of the accounts, because in our program we give you actual access to the specific reps in these companies, because these are relationships that I have been able to build over the past 15 years. So literally coming to this program is leveraging my relationship building that I literally 15 years of working with the same people over and over and over again, you get instant access to those relationships. And that by itself is literally priceless. So our fast action bonuses is our done for you business plan. So in our programs, we have a template where you can go and plug and play everything, including a business plan. But our business writer for a fast action bonus will actually write the business plan for you. So this is an investor ready business plan where we've already done all of the work. Okay, typically we would sell this for 3,000, but this is going to be complimentary for people who actually enter in this round of boot camps. Then you also have continued access to our Beauty Supply University. So again, that's our online portal where we have all of our trainings, and those get updated on a monthly basis. So you'll have 12 months access to that. So whether this is something that you do and you take action on immediately, or you take action 12 months from now, you will still have your access to watch these trainings and watch them as many times as you want to. So our investment for our one-on-one services for our Platinum Storylines program starts at 30,000. So if that's something that is what you want to do and you're more of a done for you, I don't have time for a coaching program, that option is 100% there and available for you to actually get this work done completely hands-free without worry with me and my entire team, which includes a realtor, an architect. We also have vendors that we work with on our team. And then we also have our funding specialist, which is Josh Earl. But if you are getting into the group program and you are at the beginning stages and you don't have the credit and you don't have that type of money, you can get in and the payments are $500, or you can pay in full and save $1,000 and get into the program. But this is everything that you are going to be accomplishing after you are done with the program. So you have like the 12 months access to the program. You have the 6 weeks of group coaching live with me and my team. You will have the personal review and feedback of all of your work delivered, including the branding, location review, inventory lists, product mix, all the things that I have mentioned in these trainings. This is what we go through together, literally holding your hand, giving you feedback. You also get the one-on-one onboarding call where I custom create your roadmap for success in 2026. So you always have that with you, and access to our world-class retail system and curriculum. Okay. So to get started, we have a special down payment of only $500. So all you would need to get started with the program, and we get started immediately. So you get immediate access into our portal, is your down payment of $500. And so typically we get started just right away with the payment arrangement. But right now, for everyone who is a part of this challenge, this is a special promotion that we have for you guys. So this program is for anyone who is at the very beginning stages and you don't have anything done, right? You're a beginner and you need the framework and you need the roadmap, right? And what's great about this program is that we have had a 100% success rate with everyone who has come into the program. And so our guarantee is that if you come into the program and you show up to all of the coaching calls and you do all of the work and you get the feedback and actually execute on the feedback that I give you, you will 1000% have all the tools and resources that you need to open your own six-figure beauty supply store. I made six figures my first year, and all of the clients that come in that do the work and show up they make way more than that in their stores right now. So think of the cost of not opening the store next year and think of the cost of staying in the same place, because a lot of times fear is the number one thing that holds us back and we push it off year after year after year after year. But I want you to think about what it's costing you to not take action and to not open your beauty supply store and staying stuck in the same place in 2026. Okay. So if you guys have any quick questions, I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions and also drop the link in the chats for you guys to book your calls in there. And if you guys are watching me on YouTube, You guys will get the link via email. Actually, I'm sorry. I could put it in the chat for y'all. Yes, I just put the link in the chat for you guys who are watching on YouTube. Hey, Queen. Good to see y'all. Okay, so I'm going to stop the live stream, guys. I'm going to stop the live stream here so that we can get into our private coaching call. But if you guys are watching me on YouTube, you guys just check your emails tonight for the links to book a call and also the link to join our family reunion tomorrow